of this final, what we call buckets, that included December Labs, Apollo, IAVA, is called the Peloton factor. And a peloton is the main group of a pack of riders that work together to win a race. So in order for wearables to move forward, I believe the players of some of the main industries need to work together to take us to the future of wearables. So right now, I have the pleasure of introducing two companies that are not usually found in the wearables realm. Please welcome Matt Given from Intelivideo and Jeff Yasuda for Feed FM. Matt, Jeff, I'd like for you to take a few minutes and just introduce yourselves, your company, and your background.
Me? All right. My name's Jeff Yasuda. I'm the CEO and founder of Feed FM. Background-wise, I started life off in a finance capacity, so I was a bean counter. I was a banker for years. Moved to the venture capital world for years, and ended up in around 2005. Left the finance world. Traveled the world with my wife before we had kids, and I sort of got off the grid for about 6 months. And during those 6 months, two very, very important life lessons hit me smack in between the eyes, which is number one, life is too short to work with a-holes, and number two, life is too short not to pursue what you love doing. So I left this world of venture capital and dove headfirst into the wild, wacky business of music licensing. Most of my peers thought I was completely crazy. Why would you leave a seemingly high-paying, high-profile venture capital gig to join the sordid music industry? But for me, I've been a music nut for years. I've been playing in bands since I was 13. I still play in bands, and I think fundamentally, there's been a massive challenge around how the artists, the musicians that we know and love, how they get properly compensated. And that's really where we created Feed FM to really help brands and great product people like you really make that connection with music and integrate seamlessly into your product a great music solution without getting the pantsuit off of you. So,
Matt?
So I prepared myself for getting into the fitness space by making $9.25 an hour as a ski patroller in Steamboat Springs for about 5 years. Nice. And then after I sold the company in 2008, I spent 2 years and pretended like I was a professional triathlete. And ended up making it to Hawaii to do that race.
Wow.
So that was probably the highlight of things. But
how'd you do?
It's really hot and hard race. So we'll just say that I finished. How's that?
Wow.
That's amazing.
But got into what I'm doing now through a friend of mine who sort of invented Intelivideo, let's say, and he is one of those sort of inventor types who is super snobby and scanned the universe for a good video on demand solution, found nothing to his liking, and built his own. So I helped him I came in and helped him raise his first little round of seed money and have been kind of running it ever since. And so what we do is we help brands who are looking to prop up their own subscription video on demand service, but don't have the let's say technological horsepower or budget to be able to build the tech stack that you need to prop that thing up. And so they in essence use our platform as their technology solution for getting that subscription video on demand service up. And so our role in the fitness space, which we've been really focused on for I would say a good solid 4 years now, is working with both brick and mortar operations who might have a sizable national footprint and are looking to make basically a video play to sell into their existing membership, or maybe a la Peloton, more of a digital-only type of brand who's looking to prop up a video-on-demand solution. And so, we've worked with anywhere from your large 500 location franchise operations all the way down to your individual, let's say, fitness influencer, to help them, in essence, create a monetization stream out of their, that's digital and not necessarily, kind of like getting a person into a studio. Yeah, that's our story.
So you both, music, video, right? And did you guys know each other? Have you worked together before?
We've known each other for a solid 3 hours. So,
But it feels like a lifetime.
But it does,
so.
yes. Yes.
So how do you feel like music and video contribute to the overall consumer experience when they're working out?
I mean, it's like Reese's peanut butter cups, right? I mean, you're my peanut butter, I'm your chocolate, right? I mean, a lot of this is, I don't know, yeah, I don't know. Try that again. No, I mean, so
it's getting a little hot
so
here.
So here's some kind of macro takeaways, right? Which I think are very critical to point out. So I know Peloton has been the discussion of the day, and the fact of the matter, this company, regardless of how their stock might be performing, here's a company that came out that had, whether or not you can view their IPOs as successful or not, here's a company that created a liquidity event, number one, for historically a product that was a low margin, low growth scenario, and turned it into a very, very high multiple, so Peloton trades at about 8x, 8 times trailing revenue. They trade like a SaaS company, right?
Spoken like a banker.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't help myself.
Is that before or after their music lawsuit?
Well, that's important. So it was after. But I think what's particularly exciting for fitness companies and wearable companies is that they have now created a scenario whereby if you are able to create a recurring revenue model, the street will take that into account and will bid up the price of your stock, of your company. And so for fitness companies, quite frankly, this is a fantastic time to raise capital. Fitness companies are hot. There's so much consolidation taking place You've got large incumbents like Life Fitness that recently spun out of Brunswick and then got effectively acquired by KPS. Crunch Fitness just got acquired by TPG. You've got mega fitness rounds. ClassPass just announced that they closed a $230 million financing at a $1 billion plus valuation.
And how does that relate to content?
Well, and that's what I'm getting to. The way that you create, thank you, stay on target. The way to get to a beautiful recurring, model is through awesome content, right? And you need a fundamental platform for video content, for video like Intelivideo to actually host video. I would argue that music or fitness without music is just not as awesome, right? Music plays a very important role. And so, people I think forget about the infrastructural needs to build an awesome product. But the one takeaway I think from this panel is, how do you build a great recurring revenue model? How do you get high multiple? It's through content.
So that's true. And Matt, you were pretty early on in the video space, even before Peloton, like Beachbody, right? Mm-hmm. And On the Demand. So where do you think that the video contributed to that revenue model or that consumer experience?
Yeah. Well, I think it's worth understanding one step up in the world from fitness to understand why it's become so relevant in the fitness space to have a video play. And that the short story there is simply this is a consumer-driven movement away from your big content providers. So cord cutting, right? So like Comcast and those big digital cable providers are losing subscribers at an unbelievable rate. They're falling off the cliff. And so where are they going? Where are those consumers going? They're going directly to the content that they want to consume. So Netflix, Hulu, HBO, ESPN+, MLB TV, these are really the consumer-driven markers that we're seeing in the bigger space. So like from a fitness perspective, we also know that those consumers who are cutting their cords and subscribing directly to these content providers will subscribe to more than one. So they're replacing their big bundles with 3, 4, 5 subscriptions, and that includes, in a lot of cases, some sort of workout program. Whether it be yoga, whether it be a bar, whether it be the Peloton or whatever. So we know that this is a consumer-led movement into direct subscribing to the content that you want, that appeals to you, that's part of your niche, that's part of your passion and your world. And so, what our message has been for 4 or so years to the fitness community out there, that the fitness brands, is your consumers are doing this anyway. Don't cede the real estate to the bigger brands who are in here before you. You can do it through a platform like ours. It's not impossible to do it on your own. There's companies that we compete with who can help you do it. They're not nearly as good, but I think the big message here is like this consumer-driven movement is happening anyway, whether you prop up a video solution or not. So keep those eyeballs and keep those dollars in your enterprise and don't let them get away.
And thank you for that little segue right in there, because that is part of what we're seeing with the wearable market and the fitness adoption, right? So the health clubs and the fitness trainers been very slow to adopt. So I guess taking us into the next section and bringing it back to the Wearable Technology Summit, right? Where do you see wearables fitting into the future for you guys in video and in music, and how do you see it helping to move the industry forward?
I'll take that first. I think what's fascinating about the wearable space is the fundamental amount of data that can be tracked. I think where the industry is going, the broader holy grail is how, and we service about 50 or so of the largest fitness companies and provide music to them. But the fundamental challenge and the holy grail that these fitness companies are all trying to embrace is, how do I provide the right workout to the right person at the right time? I mean, people have been talking about personalization, all day at these conferences, but fundamentally each individual is a very different, they have a different modality of workouts that they like, they're different health levels. And I think, where the industry is going, particularly around data, wearables, and content, is, does content actually elicit a different response, right? Does a certain type of content increase the level of output, right?
Matt?
If you're...
What do you think?
Well, I think so. Yeah. I would.
Nice answer.
Yeah. I would piggyback on that, and just that was going to be a version of my answer as well, and I think that the data that we're going to be able to sort of aggregate over this next cycle of innovation across the fitness space, which includes, we call it the online, merging the online and the offline. So like when we work with, say, like a brick and mortar operation, we want to integrate with their member management software, like their MindBody or Club Ready or those types of, Mariana Tech seems to be doing some good things. But where we want to get to is, we want to understand the holistic view of that member's fitness world. And so that could include, I came into the studio twice this week to work out and did these 2 classes. I did 2 classes at home on the video on demand thing. And then I'm also able to integrate with the wearables technology, and that could be a Strava or some of these other data collection points that we've heard about today. And so as sort of the primary relationship with that consumer, I understand almost from a calendar perspective what they've been doing and kind of what their stats are and what their maybe what their goals are, and maybe I can integrate that with some nutritional type of content as well. But yeah, I think the holy grail is like, how do we aggregate all of these online and offline points into a hub that gives us analytics and gives us the ability to have better conversations with those members. So like, hey, we heard it on the last panel. Hey, it looks like your heart rate's out of whack. Here's the 3 yoga classes in your class pass that you might want to try out over the next couple days, and we'll get back on it on Saturday. Kind of
yeah, and I would just add, a lot of that, particularly around music, right, is so mood-based, right? So again, fitness, the right workout to the right person, the right time. For music people, for us, our thesis is we got to provide the right music to the right person at the right time. And it's very easy to say, it's really freaking hard to do, right? And so, music is like color, right? Some people like blue, some people like red. It doesn't mean that it's better. But interestingly, during different parts of the day, during different times, different types of workouts, you might like different music content. And so that's where, we've spent a lot of time working, with these 50 brands to figure out, hey, what's the best music that would fit with the yoga workout that you like doing, and the best music for this individual that would fit for this boxing element, right? And so, where we're trying to get to the next level of sophistication is, okay, let's track all the songs that Julie likes or Matt likes, and usually Julie, when she's, doing this workout, her beats per minute is around, 140. But she's at 90. She's kind of dogging it. So maybe we should inject some music, that we know she likes, and
Exactly.
I don't know. Are you a Taylor Tay or what?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I don't know. I'm just trying to profile you.
Yeah, I'm a Blake girl.
Okay.
Well, and just again, I think being able to sort of aggregate this data not only would give us the ability to have better conversations with those members, but I think we can also really start to understand the cohorts that are most valuable to an enterprise, to a brand. So that means, like the real world, what that means, I think, is that, I know that if I can get somebody in the studio 3 times a week, I can get them to log in to the on-demand twice a week, and then I can get them to use the calendar function so that I can start to track these things. That's a loyal member. That's going to be a member that's going to stay with me for a long time. And so if I've got someone just below that watermark, how can I incent them to get into the studio once more? How can I get them to start using the calendar or talk to this specific trainer? So there's a lot of wins, I think, across this next cycle of technology.
Well, yeah, and I like the fact that you use the term cohort, right? And I don't know how many of you have game development experience, but fitness is so analogous to game development. They think about LTV CAC ratios. They think about how do I maximize LTV by tweaking certain things to improve engagement. And the exact thesis, so these highly engaged users are your whales, right? So how do I kind of get my baby whales to move up to that rung because their performance will get better, right? Meaning better retention, right? Which means higher LTV. And quite frankly, every subscription model needs to be thinking this way. And oftentimes, when we're talking to the more sophisticated product folks, they are not religious about music. It's really interesting because content is a very specific thing. A lot of the heads of content, have very strong opinions. A lot of these folks also have very strong opinions about music, right? And we love brands that have strong, POVs, but that's a market of this individual, right? And game developers don't care about that kind of stuff. They just look at the data, right? Fine, everybody, should be listening to Taylor Swift. Great. Well, guess what? We're catering towards, this Gen Z tween, it's a fitness app focused on that. So maybe that's right. Even though, well, obviously you're a big Tay-Tay fan, but that's not, whatever music you're listening to, Zeppelin 4 or whatever is not, again, you might be a huge fan, but your audience doesn't care, right? And so that's been really tough sort of transitioning people off of that to think more like a data person, a game development person, than somebody with a strong opinion on content.
So, and that's great. So we're moving a little bit further into the next development, past fitness, right? Past sports and fitness, into a consumer life, wearables, different industries that they can actually use a wearable, right? And where the wearable future is going. Just one sentence for you guys on where you think wearables with video and music can go in the future.
Well, I'll give you an example of something I think is pretty cool. In a sentence,
one.
it's hard. It's hard.
I
So
know.
we worked with Bose. I don't know if anyone's tried the Bose AR glasses. They are awesome. I highly suggest trying them. The speaker fidelity is amazing. One of the things we are thinking about doing with them is sort of this integration of multiple different sensors on the actual glasses. One of the things we thought would be cool is to do a guided running tour in real time, which tells somebody to go through, maybe the Gothic Quarter in Barcelona. In real time, hey, run this way, turn left, turn right. Oh, on the right is the Basilico de whatever, and have sort of a real-time engagement that almost feels like a guided tour that's based on fitness.
That's
it's like,
amazing.
shoot, I'd do that. That's really cool.
Yeah, we incorporate video into that.
Yeah, my one sentence answer
That is compound sentence.
I think that it's important to understand that the next generation, their digital communities are going to be just as important, if not more important, than their physical communities have been for our generation. And so wearables have to play a role in that. And I think that, as a fitness brand operator out there who, might operate a brick and mortar studio, I think you have to understand that these digital communities are going to be key to cracking the code of this next generation. And so wearables plays a part in that, video plays a part, music plays a part in that experience.
Great. So I just have one final video for all of you that it's going to get me already.
Yeah, right.
You're getting emo on us. Are you crying? She's crying.
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
We're both crying. I'm not crying,
I
you're
haven't
crying.
seen the video. I don't know what the...
We have one final video where we think,
So
Thanks.
it's a commercial that was done by Lincoln, and it's here we go. I'll pick it up for a quick comment if you'd like. Yeah, I mean, I think that to me, like what that brings, like hits home is that, you know, a lot of the discussion today has been pretty technical. It's like APIs and data warehouses and it's worth remembering that at the other end of all these are people and humans. At the other end of the videos that we put out there are people. And, you know, they have unique parts about them and motivations and, you know, it's always worth remembering that, right?
It is. And I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.